Welcome to the podcast, everyone. My name is Nav, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmit, and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is A Storm of Swords, chapters 41 and 42. Jon and Daenerys. The Targaryen and the maybe Targaryen? I don't know. Why did I need to add that? I didn't. So in these chapters, Harmut's prediction kind of comes true, and Jon's at the Queen's Crown's tower thing. And Daenerys' prediction does not come true, and she is not waiting for people to come rescue her. Yay!
That was a lot. I don't think I got that was way too long.
It's fine. Sometimes it needs to be long. It sets the tone.
I disagree.
In case that intro felt really long, it's because I'm trying to get out all the words as soon as I can because I'm about to run out of energy real soon. So here's all my words. Oh, also, welcome to the podcast. You can't be yawning.
I can. I'm tired.
But what's gonna happen to me if you start yawning?
I don't know. It's okay. We'll trade off. Every few minutes, one of us will get a burst of energy.
Okay. We'll just, slap some energy into each other through the screen.
Yes.
Okay, what? Oh, yes. Who died in these chapters?
Please. There was too much. I couldn't
But
keep
just,
track.
give me
I
a
know,
blah.
I'm trying. Okay, there was a lot of deaths. Okay, so...
Just give me the highlights.
Okay, so a bunch of the... Thens, that's the word. A bunch of the Thens.
Sure, the free folk. The guy probably that they had... Oh, no, yeah, definitely the guy, because Greed totally kills him.
Yeah.
Jon, almost.
Jon's thigh.
Yeah, he's not looking real alive by the end of this.
Yeah. And then God knows who else,
Yeah, maybe even Ygritte, because,
yeah.
she was, Jon's person, so
Yeah.
who knows? I wonder what happened to Summer.
Yeah.
Summer's a big boy. He can handle himself, but still, there were a bunch of people around.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Daenerys. There's a battle, so, people die. I think they said, the casualties were, 200 on the enemy side and, a dozen people on her side, but, nobody's named.
Yeah.
And also the dudes who ran the... What's the sellswords company? Who does Daario Naharis kill?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's two
Storm
other...
Crows? No, is that right? Storm Crows?
Yes. Yeah. It is Storm Crows.
Yeah, so the two leaders of the Storm Crows that Daario Naharis kills, whose names I do not remember because they died literally a minute after they appeared, so who cares?
Yeah. Wow, fake fan.
Yeah, and whatever. Shut up. But, okay, side note. There's going to be a lot of side notes because my brain is just mush. So today I was on the Facebooks, and I'm part of some A Song of Ice and Fire groups. And on one of them, somebody was having a conversation about this thing, but it was so niche that it was one of the encyclopedia type books. Within that, it was a theory, and I was like, I only know the name of one person in this whole situation that you're talking about. I have no idea what you're saying, and I thought I knew these books. So that really humbled me.
Oh
you know
God.
what? It's fine.
That's funny.
They were probably just talking out of their ass anyway. What does anybody even know anyway?
Oh, okay. So if you don't know it, they must be wrong, right?
Yeah, it has to be because I am an evil genius.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Where were we? Why were we talking about the Facebooks?
Because I was calling you a fake fan.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, whatever. I never said I was a fan of this series. I just said...
That would be the biggest plot twist of this podcast. You're
I just really needed somebody to come along and hate it with me.
Right, yes. That's where we're headed. You're
fact
you're
that
laughing
you're
now.
Yeah.
In 2 books, you won't be. Honestly, I genuinely think that it's impossible to 100% love this series. I think that there's always a little bit of hate in there. I think that toxicity is what attracts people.
In the wise words of, it was one of our great folks over on the Discord. Oh yes, it was Brian. You want to know why we read this, Harmouth? It's because these books hurt so good. That's why.
Oh my god. Okay.
So yeah, I think that answers your question.
You know, you could also, like, I don't know, you know, like, go eat some spices, like, have some, like, peppers, you know, like California Reaper. That could also hurt really good.
For the hurts that's so good? Yeah, I guess. But that, like, hurts in the moment and maybe, like, the day after, and then it's over. This hurts, like, lifelong. Oh my god. Like, you're gonna have trauma from this that will last a lifetime.
Yeah, but...
Ned's not getting his head back.
Stop.
Arya will never have a real childhood. John will never get approval from a father figure.
Stop. I can't.
Yeah, it's all tragedy. What are we
trauma? I don't know.
Okay, died. Okay, so yes, those guys. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love that I get impatient with you trying to list who dies and just list who dies.
Yeah, I don't love that, but sure.
But you take too long, and it's...
Or maybe you're just impatient.
Yeah, I am impatient. I admitted it. It's fine. So what did you think of these chapters?
Okay, they were... I mean... John's chapter was pure agony, because I was like, Bran is literally right there. So that was kind of hurtful. Yes, what? Yes.
Remember when you were like, oh, Rob's gonna see Arya and, like, have a glimpse and, like, be passing ships in the night? Oh, you were like,
something's gonna happen soon where it's passing ships in the night. Oh, I was really hoping it was related to Arya.
Well, I'm not saying it's the only ships in the night, but it's ships in the night.
It's some ships in the night. Okay, well, I'm still holding out hope for some Arya, you know?
Okay, like, sure. Like, but this was, like, sooner. Like, this happened now, so I thought I would point it out.
Nice, yes. And then, yeah, so that's what I thought of John's chapter. And then Dany's chapter, like, it was fine. I just kind of, I don't know, I just didn't feel too much. I was just kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it was a slay, you might say.
Oh my. We can't call every chapter that. It has to be...
Really, we can't say slay to everything. Really, let me get that on recording and play it back to you when you text me every single time. Here, let me read some of our texts from just today.
Okay, but over text, things don't... Like, when you're texting your friends, things don't mean anything anyway. So you can just kind of say whatever.
Things don't mean?
No.
What?
Okay, yes, when I'm texting you, like, half of what I say is, like, slay, thanks. Okay, cool. Haha, that's hilarious. And then I do, the I, M dash, I can't. I'm dying. I watched this video 50 times of the one you...
Yes, I'm aware of which video. I am ruining the day I showed it to you.
But it's like, these things, like, they just don't mean a lot, and that's okay, because sometimes you need things in your life that don't mean a lot, because then other things can mean a lot, and
I
that's
know,
what's cool.
But I was just, like, adding our little brand of whatever to this.
But yes, I always say, like, slay thanks, or okay, slay. Yeah. But that's just so people know I'm not mad at them. Because if I say, like, okay, I'm definitely mad. Like, I would never just say that.
But I just say okay all the time.
Yeah,
and
it gives me anxiety every single time you do
What?
it.
I just mean okay. I don't mean anything else by it.
I know that you only mean that. I know that. But my paranoia doesn't.
So I should say slay okay instead?
You can, but I think
that should give you more anxiety, because you should be like, who has taken over my phone and is texting, pretending to be me.
Oh my god.
I should try to text like you for a day just to see what it's like. But that would be so much anxiety. And then I already have my anxiety. I don't need your type of anxiety on top of my type of anxiety. And it'll just be like an anxiety soup.
Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, there's too much. We need... Brendan, come on, guys, get your applications in.
Okay, so why don't you summarize the plot in a 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, John, oh my god, no, can you restart my time? No, can you restart my time? I got
3,
confused. Okay.
2, 1, go.
Okay, they're in the area where Bran was, they're there, they got through whatever, abandoned, whatever, questioning him, comes, attacks,
sentences?
he leaves.
You're not even using words,
He got
at least bullet points?
He got hurt on his thigh, and he's like, I have to leave you, and him and Ygritte are, like, just, colliding at it, going at it, in many ways, and then thigh, and then Summer, and then
switch.
He leaves, Dany, what did okay, Dany, the city that starts with a Y, 3 meetings, Sellsword Company 1, Sellsword Company 2, the actual city people, drunk, 3 days.
Wow, this is gonna be such a good episode.
And then, plot twist, not 3 days, plot twist, kills the other 2 people that were with him,
okay, that's time.
And then they win.
I don't think you said anything in that whole minute.
It's because all the names did, like, I know what I was, it's like, the sentences were in my mind, but I couldn't remember any of the proper nouns to put into the sentences, so what came out was just verbs. It was like, killed,
alright,
like, I couldn't remember anyone's name, so it was just me, like, and then I panicked because I didn't know what to say because I couldn't remember any of the names.
It's a game of Mad Libs. Just fill in the blanks. It'll be fun.
No. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I did say everything. Just not very clearly.
Well.
But I got to everything. It was enough to know that I know what I'm talking about. I just don't know how to talk about it.
Cool.
I'm really tired. I'm just, like, I don't even know why. Like, okay, you guys, I never nap. Napping is not a thing that I do. Last night, around 9:30 p.m.,
when people go to sleep, generally.
Right, yes. For context, I go to sleep at 2 or 3 a.m. So to me, 9:30 p.m. is like, like, let's go for a brisk
mid-afternoon.
walk. Yeah, let's go for a brisk walk, So it's 9:30 and I'm, like, on my laptop and I'm working on some stuff and my eyes just, like, I'm like, I'm really sleepy. And then there was a mattress beside the chair I was sitting in, and I just kind of laid down on the mattress, and I was like, whoa, and then I slept for, like, 20 minutes, and I woke up, and I was like, I just napped, like, intentionally, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever done, and I'm genuinely convinced that nap made me even more tired, because it meant that I got more than 4 hours of sleep, and whenever I get more than 4 hours of sleep, I get even more tired, so today I'm very tired because of the nap that I took yesterday.
I think you just revealed a lot about your health right now. And everybody, yes, you should be concerned. And yes, I am concerned. And yes, I have tried to do everything about it. And no, it has not worked. So...
Anyway, naps are kind of fun. I think we should start with fun stuff.
Yes. How about a couple emails?
Let's do it.
The first email is from Jacob.
Is Jacob new?
I think this is the first time he has emailed us, yes.
Ooh.
Okay. So it's titled, Hey Navin Harmouth. And no Harmouth spoilers, and a smiley face. So, yay! So I could read all of this for you. All right. So you guys make a fantastic podcast that not only helps me appreciate this entire story so much more, but also sometimes just helps me understand it. For example, I was completely lost on the whole Ramsay Reek Theon plotline in A Clash of Kings until you two wonderfully broke it down for me. And Harmouth, I think you got real confused too, so we had to do a breakdown. Because you were like, Theon's decapitated, but also he's alive. And
it's fine.
Rorge and Biter are up in the north for some reason.
In my defense, we didn't do it. That was around the time that we didn't do anything for a month. And then I got back and I was like, Reek? Question mark?
Fair enough. So Jacob continues, I came into these books after watching the show, which I loved. It was simply a genre that had never been captured by a TV show in the same way before. It took me a few tries getting into the books, but after I was in. I'm currently about halfway through book 4, and I think you guys are catching up to me soon because I have just been completely out of the reading mindset recently. I started listening to this podcast as I was finishing the first book in February and have listened to the whole thing since. Wow.
Wow! We love a binge.
I emailed because I have a few questions for both of you. Number 1, who has been the most interesting and engaging POV character for both of you so far? Want to take that away?
Before I do, you know what's really cool about that, Jacob? Is that question was featured in Question of the Week on Discord just a couple weeks ago. So if you join Discord, not only can you hear our answers, you can also see everyone else's answers. Anyway, plug aside, why can I genuinely not remember who I said? I think
you said it was Ned until he died.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes, because the week that I asked this question was a week where I was really sad. And so instead of focusing on characters that I liked, I focused on my favorite character dying. So, yes, Ned, just because Ned was just so good. You know what I mean? And, like, I know that since his death, like, it's kind of been like, you know, I've kind of questioned the image I had of Ned a little bit, but still, I feel like still looking back, it's like I don't know, like just reading Ned's chapters just kind of gave me hope in people, and I kind of miss that. But you said interesting or engaging, which I do think is a little bit different, so I think as of right now, it's Jamie, just because of our recent fangirling over Jamie. What about you, Nav?
I did say Jamie for, like, when I answered your question.
Yeah.
But I was, like, vague about it because we hadn't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
Who do I find the most engaging? Like, Arya chapters are always, like, you know, they have so much, like, of the rest of the world happening, you know?
That's true.
Tyrion's chapters in, like, Clash of Kings were, like, top tier. Recently, they've been a little, like, okay. Hopefully they'll pick up again.
Yeah, because he was just doing so much, and he was all over the place. Like, this man was plotting, like...
And shit's always happening in, like, Catelyn chapters. Like, it's sometimes it's her doing, like, things, but sometimes it's just, like, you know, because she's Rob's mother. Like, there's, like, interesting... Like, he's gotten married all of a sudden. That kind of stuff happening, you know?
That's true.
So... yeah, take what you will out of that.
Yeah.
Question number 2. I have a theory that Vargo Hoat wasn't actually the one who cut off Jaime's hand. I'm under the firm theory that Jaime's right hand just did that.
What?
I'd read this email before, but I totally forgot what was coming.
Is there a defense for this theory?
And also, Vargo Hoat is actually Vargo Targaryen, colloquially known as Vargo Targo.
Please.
That's all the evidence I need, honestly.
At first I was like, okay, I know that we're making everyone Targaryens, but really, like, Vargo? But now I'm like, you know what? He deserves it more than Jon, just for the name. Just for the name.
Yeah, Jon Targaryen. What kind of, like, that's such a...
That's so boring. JT?
Yeah, it really is.
The initials of every white celebrity ever? Like, okay. That's boring.
Thoughts? So far, this theory is running on no evidence besides pure belief. I think you should take that belief and just run with it. I love it. It's beautiful. Great. Especially Jaime's right hand just doing that. Because it was like, I'm tired of Jaime's bullshit and I'm leaving. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Oh my god.
Killing kings and pushing kids out windows.
Hey, the killing kings, we need to cut him some slack. Not cut off his hand, cut him some slack.
Right, but pushing kids out windows is still questionable.
Oh yeah, that's probably really bad, but it's okay.
Probably. Only probably.
Yeah.
All right, question number 3. Do you think George should have stuck to the House Clegane dog theme when receiving his nickname? It would have been much more crazy to hear about the Great Dane going around wreaking havoc everywhere. I think that'd be... Yes. I get that, but I don't know. There's something about the mountain that rides, you know? Oh, and what was it? Oberyn called him the enormity that rides. I like that too. Yeah. There's a visual to that's missing in the Great Dane, I think. But I get what you're saying. I do like a good theme, you know, cohesive themes, all of that. The Lannisters know it. Like, they're putting lines on everything. Okay, question number 4. What's the reasoning in requiring Harmouth to be unaware of the titles of the upcoming books? Just curious. That's mostly just me being like, and the next book is... And then I say the name, and then Harmouth has to be like, okay.
Yeah. No, the names have been a disappointment every single time.
Yeah, they're not really anything.
Because they're all just the same energy. It's just like, you take two things, like... okay, so it's, what is this? Steel and snow? Okay, you take one thing that's like, fight, 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 die, die, die.
It's
and
not
then you
steel
take,
and snow. You gotta, okay, so Harmouth has a version of book 3 that's divided into 2 volumes, and they have these made up, like, titles for each of the volumes.
Yeah.
And
so number 1, the first volume is Storm of Swords, Steel and Snow. Okay, even if I ignore the Steel and Snow part, Storm of Swords. Okay, we take one natural thing, then we take one fight, fight, die, die thing, and then we put of in the middle. Like, I feel like I could write names for these books.
Oh, yeah, you totally could. The other thing is that I don't want you to know the names in case you, like, encounter them out in the wild. I just want you to dismiss them. I don't want you to realize that they're A Song of Ice and Fire related.
Yeah, but the names are so...
Yeah, but a lot of fantasy books are named like this.
Yeah, that's fair. That's so true. Sometimes but I think that's gonna backfire on you, because when I hear names that sound like this, I assume it's A Song of Ice and Fire until otherwise proven.
Like, literally every fantasy series is named like this.
No, I know, but now I always assume they're A Song of Ice and Fire.
Okay, well, anyway, that's the reasoning. So, Jacob says, keep up the symposium. He signs it off with Jacob, his pronouns, and he lets us know that he's from Minnesota, USA.
Oh cool. My god. Thank you, Jacob.
That's the email. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jacob, for writing in, and we hope you write in more. This was great.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to the next email?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna slip a little into everything today, because I'm feeling it.
You're feeling Le French?
As long as it doesn't turn into that game we were playing where every third word we said was French, and then people would be like, what is this they're saying?
True.
Some Franglish, if you will. Motz's email is titled, Not a Real Motz Email, as it doesn't have a postscript.
Oh.
Yeah, just forewarning there, so that you're not, like, disappointed afterwards, you know? Which I appreciate, Motz. So, hello there. You said you love the email, so here you go. Also, thank you. That means a lot. No, thank you, Motz. We do love the email, so thank you. Yes, that. As always, his items are listed by number. So number 1, it's quoting you, Harmouth. Jamie is becoming one of my favorite characters, and I don't know how I feel about it. Welcome to the fucking club. All the Jamie love in this episode is wonderful, because we were just, like, going at it.
Oh, yeah. I think I was putting chapter markers on that episode, and at one point I was like, a Jamie fangirl is born. And that's when I was like, you know what really shocked me about this episode? And then I started word vomiting about Jamie.
Number 2, also quoting you, Harmouth. I never understand what Varys is doing. A Song of Ice and Fire in a nutshell. Basically, what is Varys up to? And recently in the Discord, what is Littlefinger up to? Who even knows?
Yeah, these people are there's so many people to watch out for. This is what I feel like it must be like having a bunch of children that are all the same age. Like, you know when people have a bunch of kids, but, like, they're all very similar in age? I'm like, because then it's like, by the time you're like, oh, my 2-year-old's calmed down and is having a nap. Oh, my 1-year-old's, like, drinking his milk. My 3-year-old's chill. And then you're like, wow, the 4 and 5-year-old are plotting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I feel like reading these books, because there's so many, like, characters that you have to watch out for, and I'm just like, I don't understand.
Kids
There's
going at it. Plot and war.
There's too much.
Storm and swords. Clash and kings. I don't know. Yeah. Yes, that was an interesting analogy, but yes.
Yeah.
Number 3 is quoting me. Is Barristan actually Davos? Like in the Blackwater, it wasn't Davos who came back, it was actually Barristan. I forgot I said that. I think you spent too much time around the Song of Ice and Fire theory community, Nev. I definitely have.
Oh my god.
But it's fun, so it's fine. Number 4, Renly's Peach still being the MVP of the series. We love to see it.
We love Renly's Peach.
Yeah. Number 5, I really hope you turned on a fan after the recording, Nev. And for the record, the background noise is worth it if it means that you don't faint. I totally get it, though. I always have to turn off my AC whenever I record an episode during the summer. Podcast recording is a freaking struggle. Sometimes I'm glad I don't have a podcast just because it means that I only have to record an episode when I get to guest on one. Yeah, that was a rough episode. I think, so that was when we recorded, and it was 2 hours and 50 minutes or something. But then afterwards, I realized that like 40 minutes of that was just us taking breaks and like going to get water or like trying to splash water on her face, just trying to like revive ourselves.
Oh yeah, yeah. After cutting
so it
that
didn't
down,
end up being
it was
like,
so much. Yeah,
yeah. It seemed like more like a regular episode, but that one was rough. I am not gonna repeat that. I promise. I will turn on a fan or something. But today it's not as hot. That was like a heat wave we were having.
yeah.
But now we're okay. Thank you for your concern. Number 6. This is my official friendship application. Fair warning, I'm not an even remotely competent person. No, Mott's. Though not even really a... I can't read this. This is bullshit. Mott says that he's not even really a good friend, which is, frankly, an insult to your friends, Mott, because you're a great friend.
Period.
I say this as your friend. So I'm making a veto decision. Application accepted. And stop belittling yourself. I don't want to see this energy in any of your emails. Or anywhere. Get rid of it. Okay. This is how I motivate people. I just bully them.
You just yell at them until they learn to love themselves.
I don't know how else to show love. It's a problem, but it's the thing. Damn it, Mots, you will love yourself.
You will love yourself if it's the last thing I do.
I do or you do?
Or, yeah, you do! Oops! Oops!
I love when you mess up expressions. It's so great.
Oh no.
Okay, so I think we've settled that matter. Application accepted. You don't have to be the Brendan of the friendship. You can be the Mots of the friendship. Everybody needs a Mots, you know? And he continues, thank you, as always, for this wonderful show. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I can't wait for the next one. Sincerely, Mots.
Slay
Thank you,
Mots! See, when I say it...
You sure you want to say that word?
No, because now when I say it, it means something. It just doesn't mean something when I text it.
Okay, so for text, it's just like filler. I should just ignore that it exists.
Usually. Unless you'll know when it matters. Like if it's a rhyme or something.
Why do I need a PhD in texting to be able to text you? Not even in texting, in the word slay to be able to text you.
Because I'm just like that.
All right, fair enough.
I'm a high-maintenance person. We've been
Welcome
over
to the
this.
friendship, Mots. This is what you're getting into.
Yeah, exactly.
13 years of this. 13 years.
13 years of high maintenance.
John. No, wait. Okay, hang on. Questions. There's stuff from Discord. Okay, we'll do that at the end.
Okay.
We'll do emails, talk about the whatever, and then Discord. So John, let's make it swift. So they're pulling up on that same village that Bran and people have been in. And we recognize it because there's the tower and the lake and all of that. And he's with Ygritte, and they're having, like, like at least, like, kind of a playful convo. But then it turns into, oh, you don't think you're really one of us. But really, you are. If we go down, you're going down, Jon Snow. And a little bit of that. And he's like, they're talking about, like, the tower, and she's like, ooh, who built that castle? Because, free folk don't build, like, big buildings. And he's like, oh, that's not a castle. Winterfell is much cooler than this. And then he thinks to himself, oh, if only I could show it to you. And then he gets all sad. And then I got all sad, and I didn't like it, so I'm moving on.
This gave me a prediction. This page gave me a strong prediction with, like, zero basis, but it's a strong prediction.
Okay, love those. Bring it on.
So I think that Jon is going to become king in the north, and then and the reason it's going to happen is because him and Dany are going to team up, and Dany is going to be queen of Westeros, and for some reason she's really going to like him, and she's going to be like king in the north, and they're going to be king and queen respectively of Westeros. Okay. They'll come to an agreement.
Okay, will Jon's potential, like, Targaryen lineage play into that?
Yes, because...
But then, okay, where's Robb and literally all of the Starks in this scenario? Because you've skipped over about, like, 7 people.
Okay, well, like, Robb's dead.
Okay, love that.
And then Bran and Rickon are either still hidden several books from now, or they're, they're like, I'm not interested, like, double it and give it to the next person, that. And then Arya's...
That is such a way to put abdication. Double it and give it to the next person.
I that genuinely feels to me like something Jaime... Like, if Jaime was alive in our world, Jaime would say double and give it to the next person. Anyway, Arya and Sansa... I mean, I don't know why, but they just don't, for some reason. I don't really know. Maybe they're dead, too. I hope not, but they might be. It's totally possible.
Everybody's dead. Loving the start of this chapter.
And part of this got... So that's... I thought of this here. And then later on, it kind of got added to during Dany's chapter, because, like, Dany was obviously like, I'ma go be queen. And then when she was like, tell me about Rhaegar, or Rhaegar? Yeah, Rhaegar. Why does that sound wrong? Anyway, yeah, she's like, tell me about Rhaegar, Lyanna, I can't believe he did that, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, I just feel like it'll be like this weird, like, you're my brother's kid. And then, like, it's also like, they'll both be fighting, like, the cold, you know what I mean? Like, Dany's got the dragons, Jon's got the experience. Like, I don't know, I just feel like there's a kinship there that I really just, like, I just don't see it not happening. As illogical as that is, I think it's gonna be a thing.
Okay.
And just the way he's always just like, I never get to go back to Winterfell. I'm like, maybe you will,
I mean, that part would be nice. Everybody else being dead, not so much, but
yeah,
you know what? We'll put it in the books.
We take the wins we can get, okay?
Okay, so to get to the wins, we're gonna need to suffer some losses, I guess.
Exactly. Like, if it takes every other Stark being dead for one of the Starks to be happy, you know what? In these books, isn't that kind of like winning the lottery? Like,
That is interesting. Okay.
It's true.
I don't want to dissect that too much because it's too dark.
Well,
but Jon is thinking about his father, who is now dead, but once planned to, like, repopulate the gift by, like, making new lords, but then he would have the lords pay taxes to the wall so that the wall would prosper, and it would have been a great thing. But winter was always coming, so they never got around to it, so, like, whatever.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, and Jon's like, oh, if winter had come and gone more quickly and spring had followed in its turn, I might have been chosen to hold one of these towers in my father's name. And I was like, oh.
That's so sad.
Because that's like a totally, like that's a thing that lords would do, is they would set up their, like, bastard sons as, like, the lords somewhere else because they still, got connections there. I think that's how the Karstarks are born. Or, no, they weren't bastards. Okay, it doesn't matter. Blah, blah, blah. There's more talk, talkity talk. Other arguing, just like the whole like traditions of the free folk and the stealing, and John's like stealing of wives particularly, and John's against it, and he's like, what if the man who steals you is a cruel man and all of that? And then in the back of my head, like, not that I condone stealing, but the guys that like people get engaged to, like, sometimes you get a Joffrey, you know? Or a Robert. Like, that's not a great deal either. Yeah. So it's just an L everywhere.
Yeah.
There's no winning for women in this world.
Oh, yeah.
And that sucks. But, yeah, so they're arguing, and John's thinking back to how they, you know, came down at Greyguard, one of the abandoned castles, and it was fine. And they're now, like, deep into the gift to avoid the Night Watch's, like, patrols and all that. And throughout this chapter, he's remembering the half-hand telling him, like, ride with them, eat with them, fight for them, all of that. And he's like, till how long, though? Like, where does that end?
Yeah. And he's like, as soon as I shed a brother's blood, I'm lost. But I'm like, didn't you already do that?
Right, but that was, like, Ghost did most of that, and then, like, the half-hand basically impaled himself on John's sword.
Yeah.
John was just standing there, and the half-hand was like, here, die, or I don't know. It was like, yeah, you're right. He kind of did kill the half-hand, but doesn't matter. So the Free Folk are planning, it seems like, an attack on Castle Black, and they're asking John all about, like, its defenses, which there are none, because they defend against the north, not the south. Mm-hmm. So it's just like a collection of broken down buildings run by max 400 people who don't do the fighting bit. So
yay!
Love that. Yeah, and like we learn about like who kind of like the logistics, and the person that's currently in charge of Castle Black is Bowen Marsh, the old pomegranate.
Oh my god.
Who is the like Lord Steward, current Castellan, and all of that. But he's not like a fight guy, so that's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and John's like also not loving how much time he's spending with everybody, because he's building connections and he like knows these people and their relatives and their stories now. Like the Thens don't really talk to him, but the other people do.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna love betraying them. So that sucks.
Bestie is struggling. And he's also like, I wonder what Ghost is up to, like if he's made it all the way back, or if he's still there.
Yeah, and he says he can't feel Ghost anymore.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like, Arya has been feeling, what's her name? Nymeria. All this time. But John's lost this, like, do you think it's a permanent loss of, has something happened to Ghost? Like, why are they not connected like they were anymore? Like, what's going on?
I think it's just they're far. Like, I feel like
just the distance.
Yeah, because, I mean, Arya's been around Nymeria now, right? For, like, the last little while, so it makes sense that she's still kind of there.
Right.
I hope it's...
I don't think this is...
I really hope it's just the distance.
I also wonder if the wall has anything to do with it, because it's, like, this, like, not only physical, but, like, a magical barrier, you know?
Yeah.
So, there's that. Anyway, okay, so blah, 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 Ghost is gone. That is sad. It is. I'm just saying it like that so that I don't dwell on it. So they've got this guy who can foretell weather. They've got their own weatherman. It's great. And he sees a storm coming. So they're like, we gotta find some shelter. So that's when they pull up to this village, which has little shelter. Mm-hmm. But then they see a fire. And we know it's that one guy who came before them and is just tunneling in that inn somewhere.
Oh no!
And they go and surround him and capture him. And John's like, oh my god, they're gonna kill him. And does my, like, promise to Corin Halfhand mean that I just have to let them kill him?
Oh.
But then it becomes even more intense when they're like, no, you kill him. Okay, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh my, yeah, we're skipping.
Yeah, so John's like, I don't want to be here. So he like leaves and goes towards the lake, and he's looking out on at the tower, and he's talking to Ygritte, and
she's like, oh, they're saying they hear shouting. Wonder who that could be.
Yeah, so they definitely heard Hodor and all of that commotion, but they hopefully, it looks like they chalked it up to just like thunder and lightning and whatever. But John's like, oh, we can go take a look. And I think he's about to explain that there's a moat, but I don't think he gets around to it.
Yeah. He
does like point out the painted crown on the top of the tower. Now, in the last chapter, I thought it was like a crown decal on the tower. Like, that's kind of how I envisioned it in my head.
Yeah.
But it's actually the merlins, like the little like bits that like stick out up above a castle wall, all around are painted yellow. So it looks like the crown, like the tower itself is wearing a crown, which is much cooler.
Yeah.
I just had to say that I like came to that conclusion. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. If I ever have a castle, I want it to look like that.
Yeah. But so he knows the story of this tower, just like Bran did.
Really sweet. I was like, oh, the Stark children. This made me really sad.
Yeah, like it reminds, like you think of them just all like sitting around a fire by old Nan, listening to stories and being cute and kids and stuff.
Because with Bran, like he's, they're all literally children, but Bran is, more of a child than the other child's children. So he's kind of like, with him, we're like, oh yeah, of course he's like thinking about old Nan's stories and blah, 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 but it's really
Rickon's
cute.
so young, he probably won't remember old Nan's stories.
Don't say that. That's so true, yeah. Yeah, but, like, because I just think of Bran that way, I always forget, like, even though, like, Arya will be like, oh, old Nan told me that, or, like, Sansa will be like, Septa Mordain told me that, but it's like, I don't know, it just hits different when it's, like, the older ones, like, when Jon and, I mean, we're not in Rob's head, but if we were, and Rob was like, I remember when Maester Luwin, or my dad, like, it just hits, because it just reminds you that they're literally children.
They are, yeah. Anyway, so he thinks about the story of good Queen Elisande and all of that, and he's explaining it to Ygritte, and she's like, oh, if she was such a good queen, she should have torn the wall down. And he thinks to himself, like, no, the wall protects the realm from others. And then he thinks, and from you and your kind as well. And I'm like, Jon, have you not learned yet? Like,
yeah, you've been with these people for like months now, like, buddy.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated because I was like, you swore to protect the realms of men or whatever, and now you're like, oh, those men, they're not like people, they're not. Yeah, I didn't like that bit, but hopefully he'll think on it and then come to the right conclusions.
Yeah, this conversation was very much giving like, we are in Canada right now, and so like when Queen Elizabeth died last year, and like everybody, like, this conversation was just giving, like, oh my god, like, because I remember, like, our student union at our school was like, we're gonna release like, they weren't going to, but someone at the student union was like, we want to release a statement about the Queen's passing. And I remember hearing about that and being like, how are you gonna, like, be like, we support these countries, and we support these countries, but then in the same breath be like, we're releasing a statement for Queen Elizabeth. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, here, yay, like, the most prominent symbol of colonial imperialism, all of that,
He was like, oh yeah, this queen.
Yeah, that was real fucked up.
I was like, dude, come on, let's
Yeah,
not.
I had some uncomfortable conversations with people that week.
Yeah.
And some of those happened in places, like you said, like, where I didn't expect them.
Yeah.
I thought these people were, like, cool. Literally in my, like, human rights student group. People were like, R.I.P. Queen Elizabeth.
No.
And one person was like, y'all are fuckers, and literally left the chat, and I respect them for it. And I was like, I'm just gonna drop this little article here. Go educate yourselves, you heathens. Like,
yeah, that...
like, it... I was shocked.
Yeah, it was...
Like, sure, like, I'm, like, sad for her family, whatever, but, like, you know?
Yeah, her as a symbol, we should
Yeah.
not be celebrating that.
All of that, yes. So the wall is this interesting thing where it's, like, very important structure that protects them from the others, but it's also keeping out this whole population of people that need protecting.
Yeah.
So what's the solution there?
I don't even know, but it's definitely not, let's fight against the wildlings. Like...
Yeah. Like, they should just let them through and let them populate the skiff. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I think it's
They're
just...
used to the harsh winters, which drive people away.
Yeah, I think that would work, but I think at this point it's just like both sides are almost unwilling to, like...
Yeah, there's so much animosity that,
Yeah,
like...
I just don't see it happening now, but in theory that would be great. That would kind of work perfectly.
Yeah, it's almost like there's this, you know, existential catastrophe facing us, and we have the solutions.
Really?
But for some reason, those solutions are not being put in place. I wonder why. Who could ever?
Oh my god.
Moving on. Oh, there's a little Tyrion mention, and John's like, "Oh, I had a friend who dreamed of dragons once." At least I'm like, "Oh, you still call him your friend?"
Yeah, that was cute. Okay, but he dreamed of dragons? I don't remember this.
Like, he had this book, and he was like, "Oh, I love dragons."
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, Tyrion's, like, really into dragons.
Ooh, how exciting for him.
It hasn't come up in a while, which is, like, not that, like, of course, they have other things to worry about. But there was, like, the first book, there were multiple times where it was like, oh yeah, dragons are cool. Like...
Right. That's so funny, because he's like, slay dragons! And then Jaime's like, I'm traumatized.
So now tell me, was that slay a meaningful slay?
Yes, of course it was, because dragons slay.
Okay, just making sure. I've got this list going of meaningful uses and not meaningful uses, and I'm just categorizing.
Okay,
you know?
Beautiful. Wow.
I'll have the report to you by tomorrow.
Thank
no,
you.
I won't.
Thank you. I really...
So, yeah, they're having this, but then they get interrupted, and one of the Thens is there telling John to go talk to Stir, the Magnar, and he goes to the inn where they've got the guy hostage, and they're like, okay, here, kill him. And he, like, draws his sword, and he's, like, really thinking hard about it. And he's like, oh my god. He just built a little tiny fire, and it cost him his life. And that could be the case beyond the wall, but this is, like, you know, protected land. A person should have the freedom to build a fire here without dying for it, which, yeah. And he's really, like, trying to justify it. At first, he's like, oh, this guy is old. He's, like, 50. And besides, if I don't kill him, somebody else will. And if I don't kill him, I will also die. So, like, really, killing him is the reasonable thing to do. But he just can't, like, especially when he starts thinking about his dad. And he's like, my dad's, like...
That was beautiful, but in, like, a terrible way. That was just, like, man, just because, yeah,
like,
because it's,
yeah,
and I think this was also just, like, it was, like, that happened, and I think it was, like, the last thing he needed to then be like, okay, we're running away, this is the perfect time, you know? And it just, like, it was just, like, the last little emotional push he needed. It was just, like, really, like, because I remember before that I was like, I know this is his plan, and he's like, you know, I have to make a break for it, I have to go warn them, this is my duty. But at the same time, you know, because I remember we talked a lot before about, like, oh, he's probably going to get to know the free folk, and he's going to have these complicated feelings, and I was like, I don't know if he's going to be able to overcome that, and especially with, like, Ygritte, and it was just, like, really, like, I don't know, because part of me is, like, happy that he was, like, that, you know, it's, like, what his, like, dad has ingrained into him and, like, his honor and everything, like,
Mhm.
that won
It's
out.
that honor that got Ned killed.
Yeah, but, like, part of me is happy that, like, he's still able to maintain that and act on it, but then part of me is a little sad because I know that this would have been a much more complicated decision on him if he wasn't so prejudiced against the free folk. Like, that would have been, because I think I wasn't thinking of that when I was like, oh, this will be such a difficult decision for him.
Reminder, while Ned did, like, you know, hold honor above all else, in the end, he did, you know, let it go to save his daughter's life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, that's another lesson. Like, yes, honor above all else, but there's also, like, other things. But then this is him saving some, well, not save, he literally cannot save this person's life.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but I think in this case, it's like, it's not like Arya versus this old man, you know? There's no, like, or, no, that's not a good comparison.
Right.
That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, like, there's no, like, in that case, like, Ned let go of that because on the other side were his daughters, you know? I feel like Jon doesn't really have that yet, where it's like, what could have been the other,
right.
like, yes, he, like, loves Ygritte, but, like, how long have they really known each other? Like, how much is that really, you know? Like, it's almost like a honeymoon phase for them right now. So it's like, I just don't think that emotionally for him there was that much on the other side.
Right. But it's still like moral soup.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep using that
moral
word.
soup. I love that.
Yeah, it's hard to, like, separate all the different elements of it.
Yeah. But yeah, I was, like, proud of him, but at the same time I was like, please don't be a bigot. Like, just be a little nicer.
Yeah. Okay, so he refuses. He says, you can't command me. I'm a free person. And the Thens are like, I see no free folk. I see a crow and a crow wife. And Ygritte gets real mad and yells, I'm no crow wife, and then grabs the old man and slits his throat and just shouts at Jon, you know nothing, Jon Snow. She's real mad, obviously, because she has risked everything for him, and he's letting her down. At this point, like, things are looking real dark when death leapt down amongst them, which is, I love that, because it's summer, but he isn't, like, by the end of this chapter, he hasn't definitively come to that conclusion, it doesn't seem like. But Summer's there. We were in his head before as Bran, which makes me think, is this Summer acting or is this Bran acting? Yeah. What do you think?
It is Bran.
And does Bran know it's Jon?
I don't know, because when we saw it from Bran's perspective, there didn't seem to be that recognition, right?
Well,
but maybe by
I don't think they were at this point yet. Because Bran was, like, when Bran was in Summer, they were still in, like, in the trees, like, in the underbrush,
right,
kind of.
Okay, yeah. He just kind of saw them, but, like, not.
Yeah,
okay,
I don't think there was.
I would like to think that he would recognize him.
So it was Bran, and Bran knew that it was Jon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So at least one of them knows the other is alive.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bran's gonna be like, what's Jon doing with all these free folk? Like,
yeah, he's probably gonna not be very happy about that. And then if they run into each other again, he'll be like...
yeah, but he does, like, flee from them. So, anyway, okay, we're going down. I love, like, Jon's first thought is like, oh, it's Ghost, he leapt the wall.
Oh my god. Yes, the thing...
I really want to see Ghosts do that.
The thing that took you 20 hours to climb, yes, this direwolf just leapt it in one go. That's so smart.
But the interesting thing is that the mother direwolf from which the puppies were born did cross the wall somehow.
Yeah, but, like, there's tunnels, like, come on.
But they're all, like, guarded by the Night's Watch. Unless there's, like, secret tunnels that people don't know about.
I feel like there's just some underground stuff. No way she leapt. Nah, bro.
So, was this, like, direwolf then just, like, wandering and ended up there? Like, how did she know the way?
I don't know. Maybe Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, questions to keep in your mind for later. But he recognizes that the direwolf is gray, and he's like, oh, is this gray wind? Like, what's going on? But the direwolf, bite, 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 die, 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 buys John a chance to kill a couple people and leap on the horse and ride away. And his horse doesn't like, what's the word? Stumble. So he makes it. And like hours later, like he's just like ridden off into the distance. He kind of like comes to and he realizes that he's got an arrow in his leg, which if it had hit the horse instead of him, he would definitely be dead right now. So it's actually great that it hit his leg instead of the horse.
Oh my god. This is so twisted.
And he's looking at this arrow and he's like, is this Ygritte's arrow or somebody else's? Because, that's got significance behind it. I don't think he says, but that would be interesting. And oh yeah, he has to God. Okay. So he's got this arrow sticking in his leg and he can't pull it out, so he has to push it through his leg, which I thought if you got stabbed, you were supposed to just leave it in and then wait for medical care.
Yeah.
He does tie it up afterwards, but I guess he can't count on medical care.
Yeah, but still.
But he's creating another hole through his leg now, and it's just free bleeding.
Part of me feels like, because his plan is to get to the Castle Black, so I would just keep it there.
Not that I would ever be in this situation, but I would have broken off the end of the arrow that's sticking out so that it doesn't get caught in things, and then just waited for Mace or Aemon or whoever to take out the rest.
Don't do this at home, kids. Do not do this.
Yeah, or maybe it was messing with the function of his leg. I don't know. The point is, it was gruesome and me no likey. I don't know why that's how I said it. So he does that. He rests for a second, lets the horse rest, and then finally gets back on it somehow and finds north and rides toward it.
Oh my god.
And that's that.
Go off, John.
So, les prédictions?
Oui, oui.
Will he make it to Castle Black?
Yes, he will.
Will he be alive when he makes it to Castle Black? Or will his corpse just pull up to the gates?
He will be alive.
Or unalive.
No, he will definitely be alive, hopefully.
Undead. Okay, sorry. The recent emergence of the word unalive, meaning dead, is throwing me off because I wanted to say undead, but I said unalive, and then I was like, does that just mean dead, or does that mean undead? And then I went through this whole monkey underpants situation in my head, and it was weird. Okay, Ygritte.
Oh, okay. I think, I get that, okay, I have logical thoughts, and then I have Harmut thoughts.
Give me all of the thoughts.
Logical thoughts, okay, duh, Ygritte dead, bro. However, Harmut thoughts, I think that arrow was hers. She did try to get him. She did kill that other person. And she does know John better than the rest of them. So I think that it would be wise to at least keep her alive until they can kind of find him. Do that, at least keep her alive to use her at the very least.
Okay, and she's probably going to be on a revenge streak of her own.
Yes, exactly. So I think that she's going to be okay, other than emotionally.
All right. Are they gonna realize that Bran and party are around and...
This is concerning. Okay, so I know I said that, Bran was just being a good brother and he, saw John, but I also think this is just, a quick little distraction, so maybe they can, get out of their vibes. So I'm hoping they'll get out of there.
They're gonna try to get out of there in the middle of the night, in the middle of a storm, by crossing a causeway through a lake that they had to wade up to their necks through?
Yeah. 'Cause, Kate...
Why not just wait them out?
Because what if they don't leave? And then what if they find
They're just
out?
gonna, put up house there?
I don't know.
The one good thing about John and Ygritte's conversation being interrupted is that he never got to tell her that there's a causeway.
I know, but he still was you can walk. He just didn't get to explain it.
Right. So, like, they might put it together, but it wasn't explicit. I'm just saying.
I know, but I just don't trust these people.
Right. So they are going to find them? Or... Okay, wait. So you said the Brand's party is going to try to sneak by?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Will they succeed?
Yeah.
I'm so skeptical of your...
Okay, fine. They won't try to sneak by. The people will just leave, and then they can go. And the whole point of them being there was just so Jon could escape. Now are you happy?
Yes.
Okay.
It just makes more sense.
Well, I like predictions that don't make sense. Is that so wrong?
Okay. Fine, whatever. Summer, is he okay?
Oh, Summer's chillin', bro. Summer's doing so good.
He was up against, like, 100 people, though.
Okay. And...
Alright.
Alright. Also, I do think that with Summer, though, he's probably getting a little... He's probably like, Bran, can you, like, go back to your own body? Like, we're spending too much time together. Like, what's happening? I need a break from you.
You're a little too clingy.
Yeah. I need a break, bestie.
We need some space.
Yeah. This last sentence was like... He was like, I'm going home, he told himself. But if that was true, why did he feel so hollow? He rode till dawn, while the stars stared down like eyes. I was like, this poor child.
Was the stars or is somebody watching?
It was, bestie, it was
it's
stars.
really drones up in the skies.
No. They don't even have the technology to build castles without giants. You think they have drones?
It's like old-timey drones. I don't
No, it's not.
There was that guy who could see through the eyes of the eagle, like Worgen to the eagle.
No. Okay, yeah, so, my prediction about Jon getting back to Castle Black is as follows. He makes it back, and he is alive. However, by then, Janos Slynt has been initiated, right? And so, because Janos Slynt is the leader, and obviously, like, I know, like, he didn't betray Ned, Ned didn't betray him. However... It's not like Janos, like, you know, loves the Starks. Like,
he did hold Ned down while Ilan Payne chopped off his head.
True. And he was, like, obviously he is a Lannister pawn now, right? So I think because of that, Jon will go back and be like, hey guys, like, I'm warning you about this, whatever. But he'll be like, traitor, you're a traitor, and now you're running back when it didn't work, so now I'm putting you on trial and killing you. So, yeah, Jon is in trouble. Face trial. Jon is in trouble. So, that's my first prediction. And then, also, the whole thing with Ygritte and Jon, I just think that Ygritte is really intelligent, and I just think that, you know how the entire time, like, Jon was kind of like, can I tell her? Will she understand? No, she won't understand. We're too different. I think they both kind of knew it was like Romeo and Juliet, like it just wasn't gonna work out, you know? So I do think like Ygritte knew how he felt the entire time, but it's just she didn't expect him to act on it like that. You know, like I think she kind of was like, okay, yeah, like obviously you're not on our side, but like with enough time, maybe I can change him.
But I thought you liked me enough to like hang around for a bit.
It's giving I can change him. And that's just, we know that just doesn't work out, so...
Yeah, that I'm glad you brought up the situation, like, in Castle Black, because I totally forgot to ask about, like, what Jon would encounter once he does get there, because I was like, I don't even know if he's gonna get there, so, like, the rest is all secondary.
That's fair.
Alright, so...
Done with part 1, or with my volume 1 of the book, yay!
Yay.
Guys, I was so confused reading these. I was like, there's too much paper. Like, there's just too many things.
And, okay, this is literally, like, even on my Kindle, it says 50%.
That's so cool.
Now, that doesn't, like, say anything for chapter numbers, obviously, because chapters could be longer or shorter. But, like, in terms of, like, words, we're halfway through the book. Which I gotta say is an accomplishment. This is a long-ass book.
This is a really long book. Is this the longest one that's out, or is that naive?
No, there's another longer one. This is the second longest one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's... And I got this notification on, like, we have a Twitter account that nobody ever uses, but I got this notification on Twitter that it had been 3 years since I created that account, and I was like, oh my god, that means it's been 3 years since the podcast. And I can't believe that we've spent 3 years of our lives doing this. Like, it feels like yesterday that we started it, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember embarking on it and it'd be like, oh my god, we're going to be doing this for 7 years. How would we ever? 3 years in, it's not as daunting.
We've already done it for 3 years. And yeah, I think this is the 94th episode, which is wild.
We have so many hours of just us talking out in the ether now.
Yeah. I don't even,
Imagine all of our crazy just out there.
Yeah, no. Every time I tell anyone about this podcast, it's very much like my emotions when I'm telling people about this podcast are always like, please think that I'm cool for having a podcast, but please don't care enough to go listen to it because no, not because I don't want, just because, you know, it's us very unfiltered. And especially with people that just don't know me very well. Or, like, have you ever seen those memes that are, like, when friend group 1 meets friend group 3? And, like, you know what I mean? So all of those where it's, like, people that just don't know me in this way. Like, that's so scary. But at the same time, I want them to think that I'm cool for doing something, like, a podcast. So it's, like, I tell them enough to where, like, I want them to think I'm cool. But I try not to tell them too much to where they, like, really care. So yeah, but anyway,
love the advertising. It's like, I have a podcast, but you should not listen to it.
Not like that. It's just like, if you want to listen to it, just like, please.
Yeah, I don't, like, it doesn't come, well, sometimes it comes up, but some of my closest friends, it took like a few months of knowing them for me to be like, oh yeah, I have a podcast. Like, we were having a conversation one time and I was like, wait a second, I don't think you guys know this. And then I said I have a podcast, and then it was like, oh, you know?
Yeah.
And then we had that conversation. But
that's funny,
yeah, it is like a weird part of ourselves that's just kind of like separate from the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Okay, can we get back to this thing that we're doing?
Volume 2 time. And if you join the Discord, you can see a photo of the lovely annotations that Nav gave me on this book.
Yeah.
But yeah, join the Discord, you know, whatever.
Plug number 2. It's, you know how like YouTube videos will have like counters or when they say something, how many times we should have a counter for how many times you plug the Discord. The next chapter is Daenerys. And we're gonna get through this also quickly. Just an hour for this one as well.
So quick.
Okay, so Daenerys has not stayed in Astapor to await Illyrio's ships. She has marched on to Yunkai, which is another slaver city. They're like camped out like 3 miles or 3 leagues or whatever their measure of distances, like 3 something away from the city. And they're looking at the city's forces, and they have about like 5,000 people, including about 1,000 swords, of whom there's the stone crows and storm crows. But the stone crows are the mountain men that Tyrion had. Storm crows. See, there's so many similar names. Storm crows and the Second Sons. The Second Sons, which Oberyn had at one point joined, but then he was like, I'm sick of this. I'm going to start my own company. So I like that it came up like just like a chapter before.
Yeah.
You know? Actually, it was like 5 chapters before, but doesn't matter. Don't get stuck on that. So Yunkai is basically like Astapor, except their specialty is sex work. So, I mean, that's great, but can you not slave people? Like, you know, enslave people for that? Is that so much to ask? My brains are leaving. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, they're discussing their own forces and how the Unsullied can, you know, they've got 10,000. They can definitely do this, but they are going to they don't want to like lose any more than they have to. So she's like, okay, I'll just talk to them and let's see what they say. So she gets them, like, you know, to come at staggered times so she can do her whole thing. And
she's discussing this with Grey Worm, who has been chosen by the Unsullied themselves to represent kind of the group.
Yeah, to be their commander. Yeah. And his name is Grey Worm. He, like, because she freed all the Unsullied, but they choose to follow her because they're like, you're cool. Yeah. She freed them, and, you know, most of them either went back to the names they had at birth or names that they liked, but Grey Worm kept the name he had on the day she freed him because he's like, that's a lucky name, which I like. Yeah. But it's also sad that it has to be. But you know,
but it's like fine. He's taken the power back in the name, you know? He's like, this is a good thing. Like, I made it into a good thing, you know?
Yeah, I do like that. So he's great. He seems like a solid dude. And they're just discussing the strategy and kind of things. And
they're talking about how
the slavers call themselves the wise masters, and in Astapor they were the good masters. Just like,
oh my god,
literally.
If you have to describe yourself with a certain adjective, you are not that adjective. If you have to be the one,
not an evil genius.
No, you're not. If you have to be the one to say it, you're not.
Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, so they've got these ironic names. Yeah, so the first meeting is with the Storm Crows, not the Stone Crows, but the Storm Crows. And there are 3 leaders. Some guy number 2, and Dario Naharis, who survives.
Oh my.
And Dany, like, takes real notice of him. She's like, oh, well, like, it's hard not to, because Dario Naharis made a peacock look drab because he's so flamboyant in his dressing and ways. Mm-hmm. He's got this swagger about him that Dany seems to appreciate. Mm-hmm. And so he's got, what is it? A dyed blue beard that's 3-pronged, so got that visual. Mm-hmm. Blue eyes, those are just his eyes. Curly hair that falls to his collar, okay. I'm picturing like a queer Jesus. Instead of black Jesus, like, but maybe a black queer Jesus. Okay, sorry. I went down a hill or a thing. And then he's got mustaches that are pointed and painted gold. Ooh. And then all his clothes are yellow, except with like certain like blue and gold,
little like
or brass like ornaments. Yeah.
That's the thing. This is my biggest complaint against I'm not gonna say that. It's not my biggest complaint against rich people, but it's a minor complaint that I have against rich people. Like, if you can as somebody who really enjoys fashion, if you can afford to dress yourself well, please do it. Like, just so I can live vicariously through you. Like, just do it.
So, who are you speaking to? What's his name? The fucker who did the Facebook.
What? Like the
Mark Zuckerbergs of the world.
Yeah.
Like, who are you speaking to?
I think so. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I just really appreciated that he's like, you know, I got the money. I'm gonna use the money, you know?
I appreciate his dedication to a theme, as said before. Anyway, so Dany, I love this. She repeats this line multiple times, and I don't know, I just love it. Well, I'm only a young girl and do not understand the ways of war. And then she goes on to say something that's like, how about this fucker? Like, you know, she's like, oh, I just love that she's playing their like prejudices against them. That's my favorite way to deal with people like this, you know? Because she knows they're going to be like, oh, who's this child and like a girl and like whatever, you know? Oh yeah, I am totally all of that, but like, brains, y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cute.
Yeah, the guy one is talking for the Stormcrows, and as Dario says later, he uses many words but says nothing. He's just like, we're strong and we won't fall and we're not bowing to you. And she's like, okay, why don't you sleep on it and let me know tomorrow? And he's like, we won't. And then she's like, okay, bye. And even now, like, Dario is like, just like, he like bows to her like respectfully as he leaves, as opposed to the other people. So it's like a little some like indication of something.
Yeah.
Here, she introduces herself as Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, the Unburnt, Mother of Dragons, Khaleesi to Drogo's Riders, and Queen of the Seven Kingdoms of Westeros. Just like, I think this is the first time we've seen all of her titles together, so I just wanted to.
An accomplished young girly.
Yeah, and like all the dudes in Westeros are always like, King of the Seven Kingdoms of the First Men, the Rhoynar, and the Andals. Like, they just keep adding on and on and on to try to make it sound oppressive. So if she did that, it would be like twice as long as that,
True,
you know?
True.
So yeah, so next comes the commander of the Second Sons. This guy's, his name is Miro, but he calls himself the Titan's Bastard because he's from Braavos, and Braavos has a Titan, whatever. I think at one point I was trying to explain to you how many like characters are in this series, and I was like, there's this guy, and I only know that his nickname is Titan's Bastard, and I don't even remember his real name. That's how many like people there are.
Oh my god.
So this is
and they all have
the
like,
Titan's
and they all have
Bastard.
like 30 nicknames and like 50 names, and it's just too much.
Yeah, and he is very full of himself. And real gross. Just like, you want to have sex with me and I'll be on your side if you have sex. Just gross. And Dany's like, you know what, perhaps. She won't even like give him the satisfaction of just being like, you know, annoyed in front of him. Yeah, and at one point he's like, oh, you want to see my dick? And then she's like, oh, no need. After my eunuchs cut it off, I can examine it at my leisure. And I was like, yes, exactly.
Oh my god.
And then she takes a sip of wine, and it's just I don't know, she's doing the machinations, you know?
Yeah.
I like machinations. Machinations, imaginations.
Okay.
Oh yeah, and okay, so later on she's like, okay, you guys have abandoned your people before, why don't you do it this time and fight on my side? And he's like, well, I guess you're worth fighting for, and I guess if you had sex with me I would consider it. And she's like, okay, whatever.
Bro.
Here, take some wine. Why don't you take a wagon full of wine, make sure everybody in your party enjoys it and drinks to my health, and then you tell me tomorrow if you want to do this or not. And he's real happy with that, and he like goes off just like skipping along. But Arston's like not impressed with him. Like, he's like, this guy has an evil reputation even in Westeros. He's nobody to fuck with.
Yeah.
And apparently he's like really messed up the reputation of the Second Sons, because they're like an old company and had a lot of valor. But ever since he's taken over, they're almost as bad as the Brave Companions, which we know what that means. And yeah, nobody, like none of the free cities will hire him anymore. That's why he's out here in Slaver's Bay. So
Wow.
yeah. And they're talking about the Storm Crows and how guy number one is Giscari, like by lineage. And he probably had people in Astapor that he knew that Dany killed. So he's not happy about that. And then the envoys from Yunkai arrive. And one of them is riding on a white camel. And we had just talked about like camels in the last episode. So I was like, yes, camels do exist. And after reading this chapter, I was reading the Discord and somebody was like, camels do exist, just in Essos. And I was like, yes, I saw it. So, thank you. This guy is like, oh, we're the greatest city ever, blah, 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 blah. And here, take some gold and we won't kill you.
You last Targaryen?
Yeah, he's like, when after we fight and win, we'll enslave whoever's left, including you, and all of that. And Dany's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And Dany's like, well, I don't want this gold. I'm sure there's a bazillion more of those in the city, so when I take the city, I'll just take those. Thanks. So take this back, and how about in 3 days, you free every person who is currently enslaved and let them carry whatever they can on their backs and take whatever they want from the city as payment for their years of servitude. And once they're all out of the city, we'll just do a quick check to make sure nobody's like been hiding. And then we'll let you be. We won't even rob you or anything. Plunder you. And the dude's like, yeah, we're not doing that. And she's like, you know what? It's fine. Take your 3 days. Think about it. She gets, she does a little Dracarys, and Drogon lights the guy's robes on fire. Just a little singe, you know? And he's freaking out. He's like, you promised me safe conduct and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, it's just a little bit of crispin. It's fine.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like that sound would be really satisfying. Just like the little, like, and then you put it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So she tells them, come let me know in 3 days. And then he leaves. And okay, so then it's like the black of night. There's like no stars, no moon, no nothing. And Dany's like, oh, this is perfect. Because she has a plan to attack under the cover of darkness while the second sons are drunk and the Stormcrows don't like expect to be fighting. Like nobody expect to fight because they're like, we have a day or 3 or something. And Jorah's like, but you told them this. And she's like, no, I said they could think about it, but I never made any promises. Yeah, I'm just this, you know, I gave them all that wine to get them drunk.
Icon.
And she's just...
Icon. Her strategies...
It's impressive.
...have been killer lately.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, so this is what we're going to do. Grey Worm, we're going to take the Unsullied, we're going to come from the left and the right, and then all of my people are going to go through the center with the horses.
Yeah, all the horse, cavalry, because they're going to be able to break down their flanks. And, Jorah's real impressed and calls her Rhaegar's sister.
Slay.
Rhaegar was the great warrior, or whatever.
And then we get our friend Dario back.
Yeah, so their plan is to attack like an hour after midnight. And around midnight, they find Dario like trying to sneak into camp. And he says he's got a gift for her. Oh my God. And it's the heads of Guy 1 and Guy 2. And he's like, yeah, I killed him because I didn't like him.
And you're so beautiful.
Yes, he has this whole like speech. Dany, okay, so she's like 16, right? She really shows how like she's wise beyond her years, but also I feel like her interactions with Dario show that she's definitely 16, you know?
Yeah.
Because she's like, oh, he's not scared from my dragons. That's intriguing. And he's such a skilled fighter. And
his hands were large and strong.
Yeah, she's just got like, you know, she's got a thing for him, and it's cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, he has, what is his speech? Okay, if I could only find it. Oh, he also, so he's got a golden tooth, because, you know, the yellow aesthetic. And also he's got two, like, an auroch and another, like, dagger, and he's got the hilts of them that match, which are naked, wanton women. Which,
oh my God.
interesting. Just, is that practical though? Wouldn't that be like slippery or like hard, like difficult to hold?
I don't even know, bro.
Yeah, but Dany's like, do you even know how to use those? And he's like, well, if my daggers could talk, they would. No, if my daggers could talk. If Guy 1 and Guy 2 could talk, they would tell you.
Oh my God.
And then he goes into the speech, which is, I count no day is lived unless I have loved a woman, slain a foeman, and eaten a fine meal, which I can get behind that third one for sure. And the days that I have lived are as numberless as the stars in the sky. So he's like,
oh my God.
you know. I make of slaughter a thing of beauty, and many a tumbler and fire dancer has wept to the gods that they might be half so quick, a quarter so graceful. I would tell you the names of all the men I have slain, but before I could finish, your dragons would grow large as castles, the walls of Yunkai would crumble into yellow dust, and winter would come and go and come again.
Bro.
Quite the elevator pitch, if you ask me.
Go off, sir.
But you know what? This is the kind of confidence we need to exude into the world. Because we always think that we're, like, less than the people we're interacting with. But in reality, no. You're just as good as anybody. Anyway, so that's your motivation of the day. You will love yourself, Mots, damn it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then he swears, my sword is yours, my life is yours, my love is yours, my blood, my body, my songs, you own them all.
Wow.
I live and die at your command, fair queen.
Oh my god.
And Danny's like, all right, live
more.
and fight for me then. She's totally, like, into this whole thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And he, like, gives her a smile at one point, and she's just got all, like, flustered and doesn't know what to do. But Mormont's like, you sure you can trust this guy? And she's like, I can trust him. So she sends him off to, then the plan is that once Danny's people attack from the front, he will attack from the back, and then, get them that victory. Yeah, after he leaves, Jorah really, like, pushes it. He's like, that guy's terrible. I don't like him. They're talking about loyalty, and she's like, I know about betrayal. I'm yet to be betrayed twice more, once for gold and once for love, which she, like, really remembers all the things that the Undying told her. Unalive, undead, undying. There's so many undead-related things. I can't.
There's too many uns.
Let's do D-dead.
D-dead.
No, that would be D-alive. D-dead would be alive.
Yeah.
So, go and D-dead your life.
No, but D-dead would be more like undead. Because you had to be dead to then be D-deaded.
Okay, whatever, it doesn't matter. But if unalive is dead, then D-dead is alive.
No. That doesn't... No, it's... No.
Yeah, he's really, like, going... I've seen how false men are. Very few are worthy of trust, and Darya Naharis is not one of them. Even his beard wears false colors. And Dany, like, really, like, she says later, oh, he woke my dragon. Like, she's not happy. Oh, so I guess you're the only man I should ever trust? I am tired of you and your... I'm gonna just isolate you and make you love me, because I don't desire you, Jorah Mormont, and I am weary of your trying to push every other man in the world away from me. So I must needs rely on you and you alone. It will not serve, and it will not make me love you any better. So, GTFO.
Ooh.
And Jorah's like, oh, and she's like, I don't care. Leave.
Oh my god.
And later on, she's like, regretting being so harsh, but I don't think she regrets what she said, because it really needed to be said, because Jorah's
just irky.
Yeah. It's gross, and I'm glad she said it, and I hope it stops now. I don't think it will, because, he's Jorah, but yeah. There you go, Mots. There's that Jorah slander you were looking for.
Yeah, it's just nice to see Dany stand up for herself and, like, come into her own.
Yeah, so she's thinking about Dario and, like, how lonely she's feeling, and then she starts thinking about Mirri Maz Duur, another prophecy told to her, which is that you'll never bear a living child. And she's, like, looking around at her dragons, and she's like, oh, I guess House Targaryen will end with me, and you will be my children. And she's, like, really, yeah, that's interesting. But I kind of love, like, people are always, like, fighting for, like, kingdoms or whatever to build a legacy, but she's like, I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this for me. And I love that. Yeah. Enough with legacies. So, yeah, she's noting how her dragons are growing every day. And hopefully one day soon they'll be able to, like, she'll be able to ride them so that she can ride into these battles, because she hates this sitting by the side waiting while everybody fights for her, and it sucks.
She's like, tell me about Rhaegar, dude.
Yeah, so she's bored, so she gets Arston to come over and asks him to tell her about Rhaegar. And he...
Okay, this... Like, okay. First thought. Are we ever gonna stop with this Harrenhal tourney? Like, do we ever stop talking about this? Like, never. Genuinely? You're being serious right now?
Literally never. We're gonna hear about it from at least, like, 3 different perspectives. At least. Those are just the ones I can remember off the top of my head.
Lovely. Okay. And beyond that, this was really interesting, because until now I was like, yeah, like, I was just kind of like, damn, like, Rhaegar really cheated on his wife, and that was kind of the only thought that I had about him. But now this was just like this was really cute. Like, he was like, you know, he like likes his loot. Like, he's just, and he like didn't really want to fight. He just kind of had
loot. You mean harp? Loot. Okay, when you said loot, I heard LOOT, and I'm like, what are you saying now?
That's funny. No. Oh, you thought I meant like Lyanna as loot?
Yeah,
No.
I was.
No. I meant like the instrument lute. I just totally got confused about which instrument I was talking about.
Yeah, because Dany's like, oh, he was a great warrior. Did he win many tourneys? And
he never entered because he didn't want to. And you know what, Kate? What I think I also liked about it was because, Kate, as the oldest child, this just like really, this was like, whoa, because it's like, obviously he didn't want to do this, but he had to because he was the oldest, and he's got to be the warrior, and he's got to do everything. And also the whole thing of like, he did it well, for he did everything well, and it just gave so much eldest child energy, and I was like, man, this poor traumatized child. Anyway, I love Rhaegar now, apparently.
Yeah, and like, Arston tells her about some of the tourneys that he fought in, but he didn't like win any of them, and like, he preferred his harp, you know?
Yeah.
To the lance. And finally she's like, did he win anything ever? And then he's like, well, he did win the tourney at Harrenhal, and we know all about that, right?
Do we? I didn't know that.
Dany's like, but that's the worst tourney of them all, because he betrayed his wife and went over to Lyanna Stark over there.
Oh my god.
In that tourney. And yeah, she's like, how could he? And then even she says, Princess Elia was there, his wife, and yet my brother gave the crown to the Stark girl, and later stole her away from her betrothed. So she believes that part. How could he do that? Did the Dornish woman treat him so ill? And Arston's like, well, it's not like, I don't know what was going on, but like, Elia was cool, but she wasn't the healthiest. Her health was ever delicate. And we keep kind of we heard about this before too, maybe through Jaime.
Yeah.
But we discussed that maybe he was looking for other people to have babies with because Elia couldn't have more babies, and he wanted to complete the trifecta. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and apparently Viserys blamed Daenerys for the demise of everything, because if Daenerys had just been born earlier, then Rhaegar could have married her, and it would have been all simple and sorted.
I can't. Like,
and I love that, like, Dany came back with, oh, what if why weren't you born a girl? That would have solved things too. Even though she says that it earned her, like, a beating for that, which is not great. But I'm glad she said that, honestly. Because his arguments make no sense, and it makes sense to make no sense arguments back at him. Just as much sense as that sentence maked.
He doesn't deserve logic.
Yeah, okay. They're like, oh, I guess
he was born in grief.
Yeah, because Viserys' theory was that if he had been happy with his wife, he wouldn't have gone for Lyanna. Mm-hmm. But Whitebeard is like, well, I'm not sure Rhaegar, like, it was really in him to be happy. He had, like, a real melancholy nature. He was born in grief at Summerhall. We've heard vague mentions of Summerhall. Like, do you remember?
No, not at all.
Okay, first off, in Dunk and Egg, Egg's dad rules at Summerhall.
Mm-hmm.
But this, like, Rhaegar obviously came much after that.
Yeah.
And we've heard, like, vaguely about a tragedy at Summerhall, but, like, there's no details.
Oh, okay.
It just, like, yeah. So Rhaegar was born there, and it's a tragic place. So,
Okay.
but he liked Summerhall, even despite its tragedy. He would just go there with his harp and write some songs and sleep in the ruins and all of that.
I want to hear Rhaegar's songs.
This is interesting. We were just talking about songs in the Discord.
Yeah.
Would you read his songs?
I would read his songs. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder if we do ever come across any. But yeah, he would sing sad songs.
Oh,
and
he was romantic.
I guess,
And he
yeah.
played the harp, and I'm sure he could sing.
Maybe that's where Jon gets his melancholy from, if our theory is correct.
True. And you know, I think
instead of Ned Stark, it's actually Rhaegar.
I think this also kind of made me happy, where it was like, because, you know, like, he kind of had to hide his true identity, like, a lot of, like, not his true identity, but, like, who he kind of was on the inside a lot, because, you know, he was the son of...
Yeah, to be like, I'm a warrior, but really, he was like, I'm a scholar.
Yeah, but it's like, it just makes so much sense to me that, like, that's another reason why he was so attracted to Lyanna, because it's like, Lyanna was, like, so herself, and it's just, like, this, I think it was just, he was just attracted to that, like, genuineness and, like, honesty.
How could somebody not be attracted to Lyanna?
Yeah, but
she sounds like the greatest.
Yeah, but, like, you know, like, I just feel like it was like this genuine, like, connection where it was like, wow, you're so cool, you know?
Was there anything, well, maybe, like, we did hear about, okay, when Mira, sorry, I had to, like, in my brain, sort out what we have heard about this tourney and what we haven't.
True.
When Mira's telling Bran the story, she talks about Lyanna, like in those coded words, listening to the songs of the Dragon Prince. So maybe she found those intriguing as well. Yeah, okay, anyway, the conversation gets interrupted here, basically, because horses are approaching, and Mormont, like, busts in, and he's like, I bring you victory. The Stormcrows, they turned their cloaks, and all the enslaved soldiers, like, broke and ran, and 200 died on their side, maybe a dozen on ours, and we have several thousand captives, and we're winning. Or we won. And the Titan's bastard fled once he realized what was going on. And Graston, is that the guy that came to talk to her? Is that who Graston is?
Yeah, Graston was the second dude that came. Second dude was
Titan's bastard.
Then Graston...
So Graston was the guy that came from Yunkai, right? The guy from Yunkai. Ha ha ha. Okay, so he's gone to Yunkai with her terms now that she's won this battle. And they're like, okay, great. So the next day, they pack up and move 3 leagues closer to Yunkai, right to the gates.
Oh my god.
And wait for 3 days when finally the gates open and the enslaved people are freed, just like she instructed them to be, and they're calling out to her and calling her Misa, which means mother. And Dany's just like really like feeling the moment, and she's like, I don't need no kids, look at all these kids I got, you know? And she remembers back to another vision from the Undying, which I have here on my phone so that I can read it to you. 10,000 slaves lifted blood-stained hands as she raced by on her silver, riding like the wind. Mother, they cried. Mother, mother. They were reaching for her, touching her, tugging at her cloak, the hem of her skirt. They wanted her, needed her, the fire, the life. And Dany gasped and opened her arms to give herself to them. And, like, in the House of the Undying, right after this is when the Undying try to consume her, but, like, that was her vision there. And here it is, like...
That's so cool!
Literally come to life.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because people are like, her guards are worried that she's gonna get hurt, but she's like, no, I know this. Like, I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They're not gonna hurt me. They're my children, Jorah. You know, crowd surfing.
True.
Yeah.
Aww. Beautiful.
Yeah. So another win for Dany. We like that. We get so few wins in this. Oh yeah, the one thing we didn't talk about. So she's got her army, but she also has all the like amount, more than soldiers that she has, of people following her who are now freed and don't know where to go, but they're following her because they like her. So she's gonna have to like figure out a way to take care of them too.
Yeah.
And I assume this 10,000 people are also gonna join them.
Yeah.
So she's just got like a walk-in city. A Khalasar, if you will.
Oh my god.
But they're not mounted. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
So she has like a lot of wins, but there is like a thing that's like a problem that she needs to figure out.
Yeah, definitely.
So predictions. So she's slayed the city.
Oh my god, bro.
She's done with Yunkai. Oh, okay, hang on. In Astapor, she set up a council of
a healer, a scholar, and a priest.
Okay, so she's left a council of those 3 people to rule in Astapor. Is she going to do something? Well, she did say that if you let the enslaved people go, we'll leave you alone. So is she just going to leave Yunkai alone, or is she going to try to take over their government in a similar fashion? Like,
I think she might try to do something with the government, because otherwise it's like, it might just revert, right? Like, they might just find more people, but I guess now it's like the power has been, like, they have been overthrown. But it's like still like, what do the numbers look like? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. She might like. I do think she'll do something to make sure that it's still okay when she leaves.
Right. Okay. And she's gonna leave to go where?
She's gonna leave to keep traveling, keep getting more people, get towards Westeros.
So more cities like along the way. Just. Yeah. Jorah, is he gonna back the fuck down, or is he gonna continue being his Jorah self?
He's Jorah, so he'll Jorah it up.
Arston's gonna continue being cool, Whitebeard. Yeah. Dario, he's gonna continue his swagger. Is Dany gonna pursue that? Like, what's the dealie there?
See, because it's like a weird power thing, but I think she will, but it'll be like a polyamorous vibe.
What do you mean by power thing? Sorry.
Just because, like, she's the queen, and the thing with Jorah, where it's like...
But he did, like...
No, like, I get that. I get that.
Like, he chose to pledge himself.
I get that. However, I think Jorah has just left a bad taste in my mouth. With, like, the whole, like, not respecting. So, like, I'd just be worried about, like...
So you think that if they, like, were to start something, he wouldn't respect her as a queen?
I'm not saying that. I'm just... That would be a concern with anyone that she pursues something with.
Okay, fair enough. So, a side piece.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's Dario. Who else is in this? So... Miro, the Titan's bastard, like, runs off at the end. Are we ever going to see him again?
Yeah. He's going to try and get his revenge.
Are they going to capture him?
I don't think they're going to capture him. I think he's going to come and fuck shit up someday.
Okay.
In, like, a different city or something, he'll just show up.
Sounds good. Not good, but, I'll take it. That's what I mean. Will Dany be able to ride her dragons anytime soon?
Probably not anytime soon, but, one day.
Like, which day? How many books from now
Maybe,
are we
like,
talking?
book 5. I have a question.
Uh-huh.
There's something that I want you to spoil me on.
What?
No, there's something very specific. Okay. I know that you have planned out the chapters, like, the chapter sectioning for the rest of the 3rd book, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, is there ever a point where we read one chapter only?
I don't think there is in... Ooh. Yes.
There is? Okay.
Yeah, you'll see it when it'll make sense when it... Yes, there will be a point where we only read one chapter.
In this book?
Maybe.
What does that mean?
Yes, sure, whatever.
That's not an answer.
Yes.
But why are you going back on it? Why can't you just say yes?
Because I can't, tell you things. It goes against my very nature.
Okay, weirdo.
Okay, so next time we're reading 2 chapters, though. Give me your hopes and predictions.
Let's do... We're gonna get a new character. Halfway through the book.
Halfway through the book.
I'm joking. Okay. It'll be Arya and Catelyn.
Well, chapter 43 is Arya.
Wow, I'm so smart.
Is it? Okay, let me double check that. Yes, it is. I can't believe you got that right, so that's why I was
Excuse me?
doubting myself. Okay, chapter 43 is
I
Arya.
can't believe you got that right.
Last time she was with Brotherhood without banners. Nothing much happened. The Hound popped in, and then he went out, and then they were gonna
send her to. Oh yeah. So I think they're about to leave. I mean, well, she's probably still gonna be mad at Gendry. They're heading towards. Because you know how I said they're taking a very leisurely stroll towards Riverrun, so they're just gonna continue on that.
All right, fair enough. Okay, chapter 44 is Jaime.
Okay, Jaime. Oh yeah, he's just been released from his sentence.
Yeah, Brienne has not.
Oh shit. Oh yeah. Okay. We're really gonna continue with the Jaime love, and you know what? Maybe he'll help Brienne escape. Maybe he'll be a good person and do something nice for once.
Help how? Bruce Bolton was like, I'm bouncing out tomorrow, you're heading out tomorrow, and Brienne is not. Who is he gonna go to make that happen?
Maybe he just,
espionage?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Exactly.
I could see it on your face. Espionage.
It's okay, he makes it happen. Or Brienne makes it happen herself. Because icon. However, I just would like to hope that Jaime isn't just gonna be like, okay, well, bye.
Well, he is rich. He could be like, I'll give you some sapphires.
I don't think he'd do that, though.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, so he's gonna help Brienne out somehow, and they're both gonna leave for King's Landing?
Yes.
Alright, I'm cool with that prediction. Now let's move to discourse. I'm just gonna read them in the order that I have copied and pasted them into my notes here. So, no real reason at all. On May 18th, Fuzzy on Discord said, just finished the episode, and the reason there are no obsidian swords is because obsidian is ridiculously sharp but also very brittle. The bigger the weapon, the more likely it is to just smash into pieces when you hit something with it. So that's why in the real world, obsidian weapons are mostly arrowheads and small blades. Instead of swords, the Aztecs used big wooden clubs covered in small obsidian blades. So this is our discussion, I think, during the Sam chapter about why there aren't. Thank you, Fuzzy.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that context. On June 6th, Leah said the following, catching up, and then listed a bunch of thoughts. So, number 1, we know how Sandor got his gold from a Game of Thrones, and this was before we remembered that he won that tourney. Yeah, and somebody, I think today or yesterday, reminded how Thoros was the one person who won the melee part of the tourney, so him and the Hound and Angai all reunited as the champions.
Oh my god.
But wonder what Thoros did with his gold. I bet he also just spent it drinking or on some swords for him to burn with wildfire,
Yeah.
Because that was his thing back then. Okay, next thought. In the south, there are weirwoods in the Isle of Faces, but in most other places they were cut down by the Andals. We learned Storm's End had one, but Stannis burned down the Godswood at Storm's End as well. Even the Heart Tree, a huge white weirwood with a solemn face.
God damn, Stannis.
Yeah, so that's in regards to our discussion about, obviously, the weirwoods in the south. Next thought. The Brotherhood claimed they are Kingsmen because they are following Robert, but Robert had no clue and likely wouldn't have cared about the mountains raiding. Or he would have been like, well, the mountains, the Lannisters person, and I owe the Lannisters a lot, so I'm just gonna ignore it.
True.
I can't believe the Jon fangirl called Stannis the true king. Well, you did make up for that by now, like, declaring Jon soon to be future king of the North somehow.
Don't worry, Leah. I am back on my antics. I got you. Wait, who was the person in the Discord who was it Leah who was also a fellow Jon girl?
I can't remember.
It was Leah or it was Ola. Or maybe I'm just making it up and it was someone else completely. Whoever that was, please re-identify yourself because I need you.
Okay. What are we? Oh, yes. Okay, next thought. One of the Daenerys was the one that smuggled Dany and Viserys from Dragonstone when they were being hunted. Now his family is probably extinct for good.
Oh, no!
Yes, Sir Willem Darry was the one who snuck them away. It's sad that they're extinct now. Because I think their last lord was actually just like a baby. Not a baby, like an 8-year-old or something. But he's probably killed too, so that sucks.
It's giving Rickon.
Yeah. Random thought. The Brotherhood gives Sandor a trial even though he admits to killing Micah. They're trying to kill Gregor without any more evidence than that, so will they give him a trial too? They probably have 0 chance of winning if they do.
Yeah. Especially with this whole 7 lives business. He did.
Yeah, and also the trial business is like very casual, as they wish it. Like, generally, they're working for the people, so I'll let it slide, you know? But, yeah, I wouldn't want to, like, this is not a fair court of justice by any means.
And I think we'd kind of talked about that in the episode too, where it was like, does innocent doesn't necessarily mean, oh, he didn't kill Micah. Innocent means he did what he was supposed to, therefore he did nothing wrong. Like, maybe that's where the innocence comes from, you know?
Right.
Where it's like, it's not his responsibility almost. So I think that would be different, because I guess with Gregor, he also gets orders, but he also just messes things up on purpose. Like, the thing that they got sent to get Gregor for was his fault, right? It wasn't a Lannister order?
Was it
a Lannister
That
order?
was Tywin sending him out to cause trouble in the Riverlands. Because Catelyn had captured Tyrion.
Oh.
But the exact nature of trouble, Gregor Clegane definitely,
okay, so it's a little bit...
Okay, so moving on. So we talked about how, when Beric, keep wanting to call him Boros, because Thoros and Beric and Beric, when he, cuts his hand to light his sword on fire, we were like, is the blood black because it's dark in the cave, or is it just black? And Leah thinks that the blood is black because the cave was sufficiently lit by fires to see. I still don't know, because I feel like Arya would have given more of a reaction to it actually being black, you know? Maybe. I think either way it works, because we know he's died a bunch of times, so he could just be running on some petroleum or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Crude oil. So, next up, in my opinion, the Hound is responsible for Micah, but I agree with what was said. I think the Hound and Jaime represent the same aspect of being disillusioned with knights, so they conclude they can be the worst version of themselves because of it. But unlike Jaime, who still thinks he's awesome and better than everyone else, the Hound is more like, you're all trash, and so am I. Fact, that's good. Yeah, I have, nothing to add, because I think we've discussed this topic to death, honestly. Yeah. But, yeah. So this is a quote from you, Harmut's iconic line, "I'm very good at getting things 60% correct." So basically, you're above average at getting things correct.
Yeah, basically I pass in the class of getting things right. But, just barely. If we...
Not even a C+, just a C.
Hey. Okay, C's get degrees.
A 60%?
Hey, C's get degrees, okay? Not C+'s get degrees.
Are you quoting me to me?
I'm not quoting you, I'm quoting every single person in the world.
Yeah, but I've been quoting that at you to try to get you to relax a little bit.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Alright, you see what I deal with every day.
Okay.
On June 7th, Leah had more thoughts. I got to binge episodes, so here's more thoughts no one asked for.
Okay,
we asked for them.
Okay, today is just us aggressively uplifting people. No, what the fuck? Your long messages are my favorite thing in that channel. Whenever I see them, I'm like, this is gonna be juicy, and I'm like genuinely excited. So we asked for them. Even if we didn't directly, we emotionally asked for them, and we needed them.
No, I think the, constantly promoting Discord is asking for them.
Valid. You're right. Yeah.
That's literally what we're asking for. So, Leah, shut your face and open your face and give us your thoughts.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, beautiful thoughts. Yeah. I also love when you and I just throw questions into the ether and then someone on Discord is like, there actually are zebras or zebras.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That's my favorite thing when people just, answer.
People say zebra in New Zealand, which made me tolerate it more because I love New Zealand. It's like you have that place that's like, if I lived there, I would be much happier place, New Zealand is that place for me. Like, I don't know if that's true, but I think that is how it would.
Interesting.
Because the Kiwis call it zebra, I'll tolerate it.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Also, there's, on the similar topic, apparently there's such thing as zorses, which are a cross between horses and zebras. But I feel like in this book, they're not zorses, they're just zebras, but they're just calling them zorses.
Yeah.
Just to be difficult. Yeah, and we already talked about camels existing in the world, but just not in Westeros, so all the animals. There we go. Okay, back to Leah's thoughts. I can hear George R.R. Martin giggling like a little boy when he gave Davos the line, "I am your man, so it's your tongue to do with as you please." And later, Stannis reminiscing about Renly's peach.
Oh my god.
Oh, love that. Stannis has the biggest middle child complex. He wants things just because others have them, and when he gets them, they're not good enough for him.
That's so funny.
True. That's true. Somebody asked why we hate Stannis so much. I don't so much hate Stannis. I just don't get Stannis.
He's just very dramatic in ways that we feel are avoidable if he did some self-reflection and went to therapy. And I know, to be fair to people who like Stannis, I do think that is also true about a lot of other characters, like Jon and Jaime, whatever. However, I think they bring an element of entertainment that Stannis doesn't. So he doesn't...
Yeah, Stannis is so just
he
bland.
Doesn't get off the hook. So with other characters...
Add some spice to that.
Yeah, so with other characters where they have that same energy, it's like, they bring something else where you kind of, overlook it, and you're like, it's just a character, whatever. Like, John's like an emo teenager, I relate, whatever. But then with Stannis, it's just like, this is a grown-ass man, and he just is like this, and it's just, he doesn't have any charm to overcome it and make us like him. So I do understand how we come off as unfairly cruel to not cruel, but unfair to Stannis, but it's because he's boring. There's nothing going on with him.
What I like about Stannis is that he shows up in Davos's chapters, and I love my man Davos.
Exactly. Yeah. Davos, okay. The only times I've ever appreciated Stannis are because of Davos and the way he thinks about Stannis.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, though,
I like Stannis because Davos likes Stannis.
However, if you are a Stan fan, please write in, because I want to hear those arguments. I want to see what you guys can come up with. Okay,
cool. I told you, so Stannis saw the vision of the battle at the Fist of the First Men, right? Yeah. And you were like, why is that so long? Leah says, Harmouth, you can call it the fist fight for short.
Beautiful.
And then it's quoting one of us. I think it's you. It's, you're too old to not know how cable works.
Oh, that's what I said. And then you got offended because you were like, I ain't that old. And I was like, no, I'm also too old to not know how cable works.
Right. Anyway, so Leah's just like, bruh. And then with like the crying, what's that emoji called? I don't know how to describe emojis.
Join the Discord and you can see the emoji yourself.
Yes, there you go. Okay, next point. To your point about no one believing him, what do you mean? There's literally evidence in the form of wildfire all over the city. It's not like they have to trust Jaime. Nobody believing Jaime, because we were like, why doesn't anybody else know this? That he did this for the city? And I think, I don't know, both of us, one of us, somebody argued that nobody would believe him. And Leah saying he could just be like, look, wildfire. Like,
no, that does make a lot of sense, but I think we'd initially said that, but from what I remember after saying that, we came to the conclusion, oh, but he's also traumatized. So I think that was probably a lot to
he
do
doesn't
with
want
it.
to talk about it.
Yeah, where it was like, and just, just for the plot, for the plot, for eventually when the wildfire does burst, George R. R. Martin needed it to just not be resolved.
Okay. So that's definitely happening then.
Yeah, so a little bit of all of those elements, I think.
All right. Next point. I think too much emphasis is put on Jaime sitting on the throne and not enough on Ned seeing the sack of King's Landing as he marched towards the throne room. I feel Ned's prejudice toward the Lannisters is justified. So Ned's like walking through the city and it's been like plundered by the Lannisters, and he gets to the throne room and sees Jaime on the throne. That does paint a certain kind of a picture. I get it. But I am a Jaime fangirl, so
yeah.
I have to overlook it.
Yeah. I think the last...
Objection denied.
Yeah, I think last time we just kind of come to where it was like, yeah, they both just weren't gonna get along. Like, they were both just looking
Leah,
for things
your
to
point
not like
is
each other.
100% accurate. As it all, like, 99% of the time. All your points, I'm like, yes, true. But I just don't wanna, so I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want to believe it, so I don't. Let me live my delusions. It's fine.
As a Ned fangirl, icon Ned. It's just Jaime's really charming.
Yeah. So, what are we doing? Oh, yes. Oh my god. What are we doing counter for this episode? I just find it funny how Jaime is like, I told my side, please don't call me Kingslayer no more. And I'm like, all right, not Kingslayer. You'll be referred to as child killer from now on. Fair enough, Leah. Fair enough. Okay, so another contribution from Leah on May 23rd. This was in response to your question of the week, which was, as discussed in last week's episode, what's worse, Ilyn Payne having ice or Joffrey potentially having ice? And Leah's thoughts are, if Ilyn Payne keeps it for him, then it can one day pass to Podrick, so that's cool, but seriously, not advocating for private property here, but no one should keep the ancestor sword of other family. And yes, that includes you, John. Give that sword back to the Mormont family. Which I'd never thought about that. But Leah, you have a good point. Why aren't those Mormont ladies rocking that sword? Why did Jeor take it with him to the wall?
Yeah, that's true.
When he knew he was just gonna, like, die up there,
Yeah.
So, like, while I love that moment for John, like, getting that, like, father figure, like, validation, whatever, you're kind of right.
Yeah.
Maybe Rob will get one of the ice, and John will get the other part of the ice.
That would be so cute. That would be beautiful, but these books could never. That's giving, like, Hallmark. Like, the swords that found each other again.
Right. Yeah. It'll be a gift of swords instead of storm of swords.
Stop.
So anyway, just wanted to, like, bring that up because that was a really good point, and I was like, whoa, yeah, that's, like, I'd never consider that. And also this message, Harmouth, you were like, oh, I totally forgot that Podrick is Ilyn Payne's kid. And then I had to be like, no, that is not it at all. They're distantly related. Like, I wasn't really replying to messages in the Discord during that week because I was having an off week, but I saw your message and I was like, I cannot let this stand. I gotta reply to this.
Oh my god.
Because Podrick Payne is
No, because
Just,
I was like, whoa, but then I like tripped myself up. I was like, damn, how can a father and son be that different from each other? And then I was like, who's Elaine Payne married to? And I went down this whole rabbit hole that wasn't in my message, but that was in my mind. So I'm very glad you cleared that up immediately, because that could have been like a fan fiction writing moment. Like,
yeah. So there's that. So those are the thoughts from Discord. I did also look into the economy of Dorne.
ooh, okay.
Remember we talked about this last time?
Yes.
How rich are they? How did they make money? So I went to Race for the Iron Throne, and of course Stephen Atwell has an essay on this, but his essay is much more advanced than what I was looking for. His is actually an economic development plan for Dorne to help them make more money.
Huh.
And it has a 4-step detailed plan, which I'll just give you the highlights because I was like, this is too interesting not to mention. Number 1, they got to figure out that irrigation because they're in a desert.
Mm-hmm.
It was way more nuanced than that, but that's what I'm saying. Number 2, they got to improve that soil quality by mixing in the nutrients, as you do. Number 3, they got to create a Dornish state bank that they'll use to fund a fleet that'll do double duty as a navy and a merchant marine.
Whoa.
To help them with that trade and stuff.
Huh.
And then number 4, they got to get people to immigrate from Essos and urbanize their country.
Whoa.
And that is how they will develop economically.
Okay.
According to Stephen
Come
Atwell.
on, Dorn.
It was a great essay.
Dorn, are you taking notes? Like,
yeah. He had it for each of the sectors.
That's cool.
I didn't read all of them, but I read the Dorne one, obviously. But then I was like, okay, this is really advanced. What I was looking for is what they're doing now. So I went to Atlas of Ice and Fire. So Dorne's primary exports are olives and wine. I can't believe I forgot about the Dornish wine, which is mentioned every other page. But they've also got citrus things like lemons, pomegranates. They've got plums, spices, oranges, and other such things that they have. But basically, they've got those horses. They've got some, they grow crops, just not the kinds that we think of as crops because they're in a desert land. But and they have the wine. And I think I mentioned this, they're close to Essos, so there's a lot of trade and stuff happening. So they're cool. Go, everybody. It'll be linked, so go read it.
Nice.
Oh, so many hours. So I guess we'll wrap this up now, unless you have any other thoughts to add, since we're here anyway.
I am done with my thinking for the day.
I can't believe I got through all the words in the episode. I really thought I was going to run out at about 40% through.
Yeah, y'all, it is 12:41 a.m.
That's not even bedtime for you. I should be the one worried about that. I want to sleep. Okay, since I want to sleep so bad, we can continue this conversation on Discord. Go join that. Send us an email. Our email is popculturesymposium@gmail.com. And follow us on Instagram @popculturesymposium. Harmouth creates a post for all of our episodes, and yeah, it's cool. You should check it out. That's all I gotta say. So until the next episode, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.